region at the low magnetic field region and G perpendicular at the high magnetic field region. Now, if you look at this spectrum a little bit carefully, unlike in the previous case of nickel, okay, nickel case, if you look at, nickel case, there is no splitting at the G parallel site. Why there is no splitting? I said, answer is, the splitting you should expect through the donor center. Nickel does not have any nuclear spin. Okay, effective nuclear spin. So any splitting of line, what you are getting over here along the X and Y axis, that is due to the equivalent 4 nitrogen centers. So that is called super hyperfine splitting, right? But along the G axis, it is not being properly reflected because of the weak or no interaction, as because of the fact of there is no nitrogens probably away from the, it's a 90-degree away from the G axis. But in case of this example, if we take, here we are getting 4 lines, and these 4 lines, these are not super hyperfine. They are essentially hyperfine of copper. So if you have one copper spectrum, so you will never miss the hyperfine, because that is the closest distance one could think about. That electron is associated with that metal, and the same metal is having the nuclear situation. So that interaction one cannot, you can miss that surrounding interactions because of variety of factors, but the same won't be missed, right? So if you have unpaired electron on nitrogen 14, you never miss that triplet line with I equal to 1 over there, the same nucleus. So it will not be splitted. Now the G parallel region, this kind of situation again you may come across, that you should expect 4 lines, but you cannot recognize the 4 lines as you could for the G parallel region, but you are getting impressions, right? You are getting impression. In EPL life, we need to live with impression in many occasions. That impression is today may be a rainy day or very sunny day, may not be actually sunny. In the morning, you may get some impression that today rain may come, or today it will be very sunny or very cold, whatever it is. Eventually, it may not. Okay, so similarly over here in EPR, quite often you need to live with the impression, but if you improve the conditions in terms of solvent, in terms of temperature, instead of say 77 K, if you move down to 4 K, if you have that much of money in pocket, because you need a lot of money for liquid helium. Very few places in India, they do have the liquid. Fortunately, we have at IIT Bombay. So, or if you move from X to Q, then you may have the better resolution at the perpendicular level even. Okay, but remember that if you have this kind of situation, then I have not mentioned over here, but you have to be very careful. You have to mention G parallel and A parallel also. A parallel and G perpendicular / A perpendicular. This is the convention. Always you have to follow that. Now, again the same example for the same compound. Earlier I have given 2 different examples. Now, if you look at, this is the case we have already talked about. Okay, and here you see it, the isotopic pattern has not been resolved properly, as because of the fact that your experimental operation was not so perfect like in the previous case, though the same compound. Okay, now here what you see it, that 4 lines, but if you go down to 77 K, you look at, it has been resolved. Okay, but it's a reverse situation. Reverse situation means the G parallel region has been resolved, but not in a full sense, partial sense. But this region rather resolved in a better way. So 1, 2, 3, and here 1, 2, 3, 4 lines has been resolved in a better way. So all sort of varies. I'm giving the impression that there is nothing linear. okay, you may have the nonlinearity. That means the deviation from the ideal situation. But if you come across that kind of situation, don't consider your all results are false or all results are not that good. No, not really. Okay, this is the fact. So you have to deal with the live with the fact. Now let us come back to one very unique example. Now, before going into that unique example, let me speak about the 1 minute or couple of minutes about one issue that very commonly we deal with in the inorganic chemistry mode, particularly that the type of ligands. Now, if you look at the ligand scenario, ligand means mostly organic molecules from the chelated point of view. And if you consider the monodentate ligand, they're mostly inorganic in nature, right? Like water, cyanide, nitrosyl, and so on and so forth. But chelated, they are mostly organic in nature. And most of the ligand, chelated one, they do not participate in the redox processes. That means they have either neutral in nature or monoanionic or dianionic, something like that in a say bidentate, if I consider bidentate. For example, if you take ethylene diamine, that is neutral ligand, right? If you take acetyl acetonate, for example, this one, bidentate but mononegative, right? And they have only one redox states. But if you look at the main group elements, they are mostly the two oxidation state, 1, 3, something like that. Okay, or 3, 5, or 2, 4, something like that. But in transition metals, you must have seen or remembered that it's called the variable valence pervades the transition metals chemistry. That means the beauty of transition metal chemistry from biological point of view, from catalysis point of view, from industrial point of view, that essentially control or govern by the fact of its variability in terms of oxidation state consideration, right? For example, there are metal ions where you can take -2 to +8, 9. All in between, all the oxidation states are available, or people have access to all the oxidation state, depending on the different coordination situation, different ligand situation, and so on and so forth. Okay, but only a set of ligands, very few ligands, they can they can be stabilized in more than one redox states or oxidation states under a particular coordination system. For example, if I give one example, you will immediately understand that molecular oxygen. If you take molecular oxygen, which is neutral, right? But if you pump in one electron in the molecular oxygen at the LUMO, then you will have superoxo, right? O2 dot minus, which is a biologically very relevant item, superoxo. Or if you add one more electron there, then you will be ended up to peroxo.